What's the capital of Malaysia? Gregory, Kuala Lumpur. Correct. What does the word prefix ogie literally mean? For which kind of book is Noel Webster famous? Gregory, fiction. Correct.
Today marks the 30th anniversary of Tasmanian television. While the first television broadcasts on the mainland took place in 1956, Tasmanians had to wait another 4 years until the 23rd of May 1960 before the new technology overtook our way of life.
And change our lives it did. Hello, I'm Alistair Matheson. For those of us who witnessed the birth of television all those years ago, it has been an exciting and rewarding time that we now take very much for granted. We have in fact witnessed the greatest revolution in communication that the world has ever seen. Back in the 60s, of course, life was different. It was good old pounds, shillings and pence. A new car cost more than most of us could afford, and the old floating bridge still linked Hobart with the eastern shore. But it was all about to change. We were poised on the brink of a new era, an era of armchair indulgence, if you like, inspired by the magic of television.
Electronic lover, baby, that's my name. Whatever you desire, I'm here to play your game.
I think if you turn it on and leave it on, you're being very foolish. But if you're selective, I think it's a nice sort of intruder to have. It can be great company. I think probably it's been the salvation of many people, many lonely people.
I'm on my own, you see, so I watch the television whatever's going. Sometimes I drop off to sleep. Sometimes I have an apple.
In the morning, afternoon, every night.
I like my cartoons in the morning. Gives my day a good start.
Electronic lover.
See, Johnny should be able to have his let's just do his body away.
Well, television has a very important place in my life because I learnt to speak English watching television. I couldn't utter a word in English, or maybe two, before I went to school. And the only way I learnt to speak English was by watching things like the Cisco Kid and a thing called Johnny Ringo, which was a cowboy show, the Munsters, things like that. Now, they're much damned programs sometimes, and they're called cheap and nasty television sometimes, but they did teach at least one little kid to speak English.
We used to have fights. I wanted to watch Eggs and our Cat, and Mum said, no, it's all yucky. Don't eat my soup. But on the dinner table, my dad says I'm not allowed to watch TV.
Do you think there's anything wrong with television?
Yeah, bad for your eyes.
The life expectancy for the average Australian bloke is 600,000 hours, of which he spends 64,000 looking at television. That's 10% of your life.
Full function stereo, cordless remote control, hi-fi speakers.
If you're sensible, you'll always think about how you performed on television. I haven't got time to re-watch, but I've now been in television so long that I can tell whether I've done it as well as I might have. So it's that sort of challenge, to use it as well as you can.
You see them coming around there on the screen there in front of you. 925 minutes, 5 off it.
Television was my first introduction to show business. I started off in television, so for me it was a wonderful training ground, and I got very comfortable with the camera, so it doesn't worry me anymore. The camera doesn't worry me.
Well, television takes an awful lot of slams from an awful lot of people, but I think, considered the way it devours material and time, I believe television is doing a very, very good job.
Television has an urgency about it that I like. We live by that urgency, and you're allowed to discover new stars. You're allowed to bring in people that you think can explode, as a Joan Collins, as a Linda Evans, as a John Forsythe, as some of the young people we brought in, John James on Dynasty and Colby's. I love television. I think it's here to stay.
Television is so easy. It's something that you can just sit back and watch, and it's all brought to you. You don't have to think about what you're watching or think about what you're listening to, for example, the radio, and reading newspapers. Of course, television makes it so much easier for everyone.
What's television mean to you?
Everything. This is today.
I'm seated. Speak of the devil.
Who do they work for? The rescue was...
Prostitution. Raise a crime. John. Hooray, hit. Game over. Go ahead.
I say good luck to this station. May it prove an excellent venture from your own points of view, as well as from the points of view of the people of Tasmania, who are going to enjoy many happy hours of viewing and listening.
This is TVT, Channel 6, 8 and 10. Here is the first edition news.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. And good evening.
G'day.
Oh, hi, guys. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, viewers.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, hello.
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 Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, hello, there you are.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hello. How do you do?
Hello, love.
Hello.
Welcome.
Welcome to... Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. Howdy doody, girls and boys.
Hi.
Nice to be with you once again.
Thank you very much.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, fellow hi-fi. Good evening. Welcome to the show. Whatever you do, don't turn that dial and...
Hello again. Television was well and truly underway. And one of the things that made it unique for those of us who worked in front of the cameras was that all studio production at the time was done live. And of course, there was no room for error.
Here we go. Wonderful. Here's the latest in golfing equipment from Fitzgerald's. It's the Plastlux Roto Scrub Golf Ball Cleaner, which always gives you a clean, shiny ball that's easy to find. You slip your dirty ball in here and just wash it. Oh, get out of it.
Shop Purity, the cheapest food market in town, and be eligible for the footy contest. Keep your cash dockets and listen to... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm all up the shit.
The annual sale. A three-piece child single-bedroom suite, polyester finish, only £54.10 or 8 and 6pence weekly. Large dressing table, 3-foot backhead bed. Oh, good.
Welcome to Telescope, a magazine program designed specially for women viewers. Here to present the program, Caroline Schmidt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final program for 1966. And in this, our final Telescope program, we... Oh, bagger.
Ah, well said, dear.
In the criminal court today, Mr. Justice Neasy sentenced a Battery Point man to jail for 4 months and disqualified him from driving for 3 years on a serious charge of dangerous driving.
Colonel, is there any likely... I'm sorry. Start again. Mistake. General, is there any likelihood of any restructuring of the RPF?
While Tasmanians were transfixed by the new technology, their mainland counterparts had been introduced to television 4 years earlier in 1956. 1956, the year of the Olympic Games in Melbourne. The year that huge new shapes began to appear on the Australian suburban skyline. Television had arrived, and there was no turning back, and most definitely no turning off.
You're such a cutie. I got a duty. Wanna take you under my wing. You're so appealing. I got a feeling. This could be the real thing.
Well, a very pleasant good afternoon to you. Here we are at Channel 6, ready with another lineup of entertainment for you right through until close down time tonight at 25 minutes to 11. In just a few moments, we'll be viewing and enjoying, I know, the Eddie Cantor Comedy Theatre. Then at 4:30 this afternoon, we have another presentation of Meet Corliss Archer. At 5 o'clock, comedy with Abbott and Costello.
It was around about the beginning of 1961. I came out of radio, totally green, and into this new medium called television. Exciting time it was.
It's Pressure Pack time and the Pressure Pack Show. When people try to find out what you and I know, just imagine you're here in the studio with Pressure Pack Jack and his own style, versatile, make you smile. Pressure Pack Show.
Now, watch how the Hoover Constellation, with its powerful motor, lifts its own weight and floats on a cushion of filtered air.
Get a rolling along on a cushion of rolling steam. Get a rolling along on a cushion of rolling steam.
Thousands of Australians travel like this every day. It costs no more per mile to travel like this with Australia's own overseas airline, Qantas, in today's finest long-range passenger airliners. £574.18 will take you right around the world by Qantas. The world is yours when you fly with Qantas.
What makes the very best cake of all? With a delicious flavor? Can you name this delicacy?
White Wings Cake Mix.
Naturally.
This is Eastwood Estates, the exciting new housing development by A.V. Jennings at Howrah. At the A.V. Jennings Exhibition Home, a fine example of beautiful architecture and modern home planning, Mr. Bill Crosley points out the many distinctive features which bring new luxury and convenience to modern living. The cozy dining alcove is just off the living room. And the kitchen is every woman's delight, with spacious, attractive built-in cupboards, breakfast nook, and the most modern kitchen appliances. A.V. Jennings' 30 years of building experience throughout Australia proves itself in this wonderful master bedroom and the 2 other bedrooms, planned to give maximum privacy from the living areas. You can own an A.V. Jennings house and land from as little as £750 deposit. The A.V. Jennings home is open for inspection from 3 to 5 p.m. every weekend at Eastwood Estate, Howrah.
Edmonds offer you the chance to save dollars on this exciting new 20-piece luncheon set. It's the Orchard set by Johnson Brothers, and I think it's tremendous value, priced at only $6.95, especially for a setting as attractive as this one. Oops.
There's Mr. Jim Hannon of Darlinghurst, who last week successfully answered all 7 songs correctly
and is back for the second round of the Melody Marathon on Name That Tune.
Good evening, and here's the way we play our game. First of all, we have with us the Gus Mosey Quintet. So, Gus, the first song, If You Please. Name that tune!
But it was enthralling because it was live. It happened now. There was no tape recording. There was no kinescopes that we used. So that everything we did was live as it happened.
Bruce said, well, before I give you your £2,000 check, would you like to come back and sing for us? Because I know you sing. And I said, yes, sure. And I came back and I sang From This Moment On. And from that moment on, I was in television.
Folks, here's someone I want you to meet. Of course, you all know that there's been someone behind the scenes doing all the hard work in radio for many years. More years than anyone wants to say, really, right now, but I want you to meet her officially because you'll be seeing a lot of her in television. This is my gal, Doc.
Something new for the kitchen? New furnishings? New clothes for the children? They're yours only by careful saving. Save regularly every payday where your money earns the highest savings bank interest in Australia, the Launceston Bank for Savings. LBS, your personal bank.
Because television was so new, everyone watched everything. So if you were on television, everybody in Australia who had a television watched you, so everyone felt that they got to know you.
I think almost without exception, people who worked in the very early days of television, and I did start 4 months after TV began, would have to say that there's a sense of adventure which possibly has been sacrificed over the years to technology, to more sophistication, to a high degree of skill. So we flew by the seat of our pants more in those days, and I guess anything in its early stages, its new stages, is probably more exciting. Now it's a fact of life. Then it's all brand new and whoop-de-doo.
One thing about being a Caltex service station operator, the nicest things happen to you. I was giving the usual Caltex service to my customers the other day when who should drive up but Sabrina. I recognized her at once, and she recognized me too, and asked me were the Marfac TV demonstrations I do real. I straight away invited her into the office so she could actually watch one being done.
Actually, Sabby, I was just heating this fry pan prior to cooking a hot lunch. And if I just get a couple of samples of grease, then you can do a test for us yourself and prove beyond any doubt that Marfac, under extreme heat conditions, will stand up to it much better than any other grease. My, this fry pan really is hot. Had it turned right up.
My goodness, it really is hot.
About 180 degrees, I'd say.
That dark one on the left is Marfac. The other is a conventional chassis grease.
Gee, look, the other one's beginning to go already.
The Marfac hasn't even budged. Can you believe your own eyes?
Can't deny it. That conventional grease looks real burned up.
There, you see, the conventional grease has just about had it, and the Marfac is still in perfect condition. That's what you call a fair dinkum Caltex product, Sabby.
Fair dinkum? Now, you're really talking Australian. What do you mean when you say that Caltex products are fair dinkum?
Well, I don't think I have to explain fair dinkum to many of our viewers, but for your benefit, Sabby, fair dinkum products mean honest-to-goodness, super quality, stick-on-the-job Caltex products. The sort of products you want to use in your car.
Then it's Caltex for me.
Almost every woman who visits a television station, naturally enough, is interested in feminine things, such as makeup, clothes, dressmaking, children, housekeeping, decorating, entertaining, and similar subjects. Almost any subject which you can think of, I think, is covered and presented especially for the ladies in the women's sessions every afternoon on television. This, of course, is the ladies' domain. And any man who happens to have viewed an afternoon session will, I think, agree that an almost encyclopedia of facts and information are presented to the ladies, your wives, as they sit at home for their entertainment and their enlightenment.
Hello again. May I welcome you once more to Home and Beauty. And I do hope that you all had a very Merry Christmas. Of course, the holiday season isn't quite over yet, is it? We still have New Year's Eve. That'll be along on Wednesday. And I know many of you are looking forward to wonderful New Year parties. I know I am. And bang. Right, left. Really, bang it? Got to give yourself a hiding today. 1, 2. And left, right. I know it's sore. Now?
The industry in Tasmania, I think, has always catered for women. I mean, right from the inception 30 years ago. We started out with Mitch Matthews with Telewives, and then Caroline Schmidt took over, and Susie Gray and Louise Kent, and then I came in there. That was back in 78, I think it was. Then I left and, you know, tripped around for a while, and Jenny Roberts did it, and now I'm back. I've been back, I think this is my 4th year now, and thoroughly enjoying it still.
Mike Walsh Show proved that there was a vast audience out there waiting for something different and exciting to happen. And so it's carried on with the Ray Martin Midday Show, that there are millions of people who are not drones, who really want to find out what's happening in the world at midday. And before that, there was no midday time slot. It just didn't exist.
TCN Channel 9 presents Australia's biggest, richest daytime quiz show, Reg Grundy's Wheel of Fortune. And now, here's Mr. Fortune himself, Reg Grundy.
Thank you very much, and welcome to another edition of the Wheel of Fortune.
Game shows are just one form of entertainment that can appeal to the mass audience. Here again, the ingredients haven't changed at all, except the techniques have got better.
Hello there. Welcome to Concentration. It's a brand new quiz show, a show which doesn't require any particular skill or knowledge on the part of the contestants other than the ability to memorize or concentrate, or both. Now, on this board to my right, you can see numbers from 1 to 30 in the form of squares. Now, each square can be turned to reveal the name of a prize on the back. There are 15 prizes. Each one is duplicated. If a contestant succeeds in matching 2 of the squares by simply calling out the numbers, then this contestant wins the prize which he has duplicated. And also, the squares are then turned to reveal part of a picture puzzle. The solution of the picture puzzle wins for the contestant who solves it the major prize in that particular game, and also he retains all the prizes which he has won up to solving the puzzle. There are booby traps, of course. If a contestant matches 2 of the squares which are booby traps, well then certain things happen which we'll explain to you later. The winner, as I explained, keeps all the prizes which he has won, in addition to the big prize, but the loser doesn't keep any of the prizes which he won, but he does, however, win a consolation prize. At any stage during the game, the contestant may have a guess at the solution of the puzzle, and if he gets it, of course, he wins the big prize, but if he guesses wrongly, well, he loses all the prizes he has won up to that point. If he wants a clue, he can have one, but if he asks for a clue, he automatically loses the prize which he has won before, the last prize which he has won before asking for the clue.
Good afternoon and welcome to Take the Hint.
And welcome to Everybody's Talking.
The aim is to amass as much money in your bank as possible. Top money spinner becomes our champ.
If your husband suddenly grew to be the size of the giant in Jack and the Beanstalk, what part of him would you say would remain small? Hillary. What do you say, Hillary? Hurry along.
You know that thing.
I don't know, Hillary.
No. You know.
I don't know, Hillary. Must have a definite answer, Hillary.
He's...
That's a definite answer, Neil. What do you say on your card?
When I started doing game shows with Wheel of Fortune, I was very inspired by Bob Dyer, who had perhaps been the first person to present to television a game show done in a serious way. It was a gladiatorial contest between contestants with amazing knowledge.
I'll take the money.
I'll take the buck. I'll take the buck. I'll take the money.
And here's your host, Australia's tip-top quizmaster of ceremonies, Bob Pick-a-Box Dyer.
Who was the first Governor-General, British Governor-General of India?
Now, there are two...
His name.
Two answers. Look, it could be either Canning or Mountbatten, because Canning was Governor-General of India in 1858, and Mountbatten was Governor-General of India in 1948. Now, it could be either of those two.
One of those two, huh? The first...
You mean with the actual title of Governor-General of India, the former Governor-Generals were called Governor-General of Bengal. And earlier, of course, the first Governor-General of Bengal was Warren Hastings. But he was only Governor-General of Bengal. He was, in effect, Governor-General of India. But he only held the title of Governor-General of Bengal.
Customers, I find myself in a dilemma.
There's the quiz, which is a genuine sport, as much as because there is a genuine someone who is better than the other person. Not luckier, you see, but better, is perceived to have skills, either skills with a buzzer or a great mind or whatever, a champion like Barry Jones. A game show is like spin the wheel, you got lucky, that's different. Quiz shows are important for that reason. I think it's the all-season sale, for instance, is the all-season great indoor sport.
It could be you, Mrs. R. Dowsing of Royal Crescent in Armadale. It could be you, Mrs. Rita Henderson of Edinburgh Street in Flemington. It could be you, Mrs. M. McCabe of Ann Street in Blackburn. Or it could be you. And now here is your master of surprises, Tommy Hanlon Jr.
Whatever you do, don't turn that dial, and hello all the country stations now, because we got a good show for you today.
I think the secret was it had everything in it. It had pathos, it had drama, it had comedy. A lot of people talk about all the sad moments, but there was only 2 or 3 of those a week. The rest were, you know, games and hidden cameras and reunions, things like that. But they always remember the sad parts.
All 3 ladies now, I know what they're thinking. They're saying, well, it's got to be the other one. But we'll find out right now, because would you speak up, mystery relative?
It's been too long.
Eleanor, have you got a brother named Primo from Perth?
Yes.
You haven't seen him in 13 years?
Yes.
He's right there. I knew that we were going to surprise you. Oh, darling.
A few little drops of California coffee, a few little drops, that's all. It makes your scalp feel nice.
makes your hair look nice, it makes your head smell nice.
You'll find the girls look twice.
If you use Californian poppy.
Will your new video movie camera survive the future? The difference in every Panasonic is this solid one-piece die-cast aluminium chassis. It's the secret behind Panasonic's reliability. It's why Panasonic can promise distortion-free pictures year after year. Essential to support the advanced technology that takes Panasonic so far into the future. Essential for the survival and performance of delicate features, like this unique piezo autofocus system, which works just like the human eye, to capture constant razor-sharp pictures, even through glass or water or on an angle. Panasonic does what the others can't. Even more than you expected.
Home life is much more fun with an Astor 8 radiogram. It can play all records on this 4-speed automatic record changer. And you can store your record collection safely and conveniently in the beautiful Gainsborough cabinet. How wonderful it is to be able to enjoy the record you choose and hear it played with perfect reproduction. The music you play on the Astor 8 high-fidelity radiogram can match your mood. Perhaps you like the classical masterpieces or the dreamy and slow dance tunes. Then the Astor 8 is made for you. Or perhaps you like music with a quickened tempo, you know, a modern beat. The Astor 8 radiogram is still the choice.
And to kick off the second section of Jukebox Saturday Night, here's Bill McCormick to sing a number he recorded in England and put high on the hit parade list. You'll like it, it's called Fascination.
It was fascination, I know, and it might have ended right there at the start. Just a passing glance, just a brief romance, and I might have gone on my way empty hearted.
Stand with Brian Henderson. Stand with Brian Henderson.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's terribly nostalgic because I really grew up with television. I was from the outback. We didn't have television. So first time that I was here, I was on bandstand. There was no rehearsal. We were thrown on with Col Joy's band, and they kind of walked off, so it left Chris Allen and myself just on the stage singing alone.
Watching you grow.
Bandstand was good fun. Actually, it was good fun to play a part in the formation of careers and advancing careers of some very talented people. Is quite a satisfying thing.
Oh, my old man's a dustman. He wears a dustman's hat. He wears gold-blimey trousers and he lives in a council flat. He looks a prop banana in his great big hobnail boots. He has a job to pull them up and he calls them daisy roots. And only say that you'll be mine in all his arms entwined.
When I started out, I was not terribly secure on the stage, so probably, I don't know that my career would have been as successful, because I think television was a good medium for me, because I could work to the camera because it's a much more intimate medium, whereas the stage is much bigger and you have to have much more confidence on stage.
We'll
rock-a-bye baby, baby, in the treetop. Baby, when the wind blows, the cradle will rock. 'Cause I won't live for money, make me a slave to God. All together now, tie me kangaroo down, sport, tie me kangaroo down. Tie me kangaroo down, sport, tie me kangaroo down.
Dance, puppet, dance. The dream is ended now. From your paws to your trust, dear old Sadie. Looks as though you'll always be a pretty lady.
I've been everywhere. Been at Alamo, Seymour, Lismore, Malulaban, Nambour, Rochester, Kilmore, Marillabah, Birdsville, Emmaville, Wallaville, Connemara, Connemara, Strathclyde, Frostpine, Alladala, Darwin, Ginger, Nilliquin, Muckilla, Wallamilla, Bugabilla, Cumberland, Ramakilla.
Good night, Australia.
I think more and more television is taking over pop music. I don't think you can have a hit record now without being a video artist and having a very good video.
Now, if I could do a video.
I'm just a gigolo, and everywhere I go, people know the part I'm playing. Pay for every dance, selling each romance. Ooh, what they say.
I personally, I tend to agree with, there's a few sort of old school people who believe that clips should be, have sort of destroyed the imagination of, like songs, to me, you make your own interpretation of a lyric, for instance. So if there's a clip there, it sort of tends to set what the lyric's about.
You've got a situation where all of these overseas acts that perhaps wouldn't normally have a big hit in Australia, now we can see them here, and so it's, you've got a lot of video hits now, and that only sort of makes the, like it harder for Australian bands because there's more competition coming in.
That's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. Whoa! How about that for rock video music fans? Live all day, all night. You know what you need. Only right here on Dave TV. On your little finger. Baby, get a blister on your thumb. We got
I did tell her the Peters were coming over for dinner, didn't I?
Don't fret, my darling John, we'll eat Venetian. Ragoletto saves the day, even though it's hard to say. Oh my God, they're on time. I hope they brought Italian wine. Let's sit down and dine.
I could eat a horse.
Bring out the best in your Italian meal with Ragoletto pasta sauce. Ragoletto, made from authentic regional recipes.
John, that was divine.
You must come round, of course.
Ragoletto's spicy Venetian. It brings out the Italian in you.
At Venture tomorrow, there are storms.
Television is going to keep your husband off the streets at night time?
My word, I do. He didn't even have his tea last night.
What was he doing?
Just watching television all the time. Didn't even have his tea.
The question we asked was, television in Tasmania is 10 years old. How do you find it today?
I don't worry myself because I go to bed early. There's too many bloody advertisements on it.
What I've seen of it, I enjoy it.
Oh, perhaps we're getting very used to it, you know. We say that the programs are not so good.
Do you think the programs have improved over the years?
I think so, yes.
Oh, I think they get a bit monotonous.
Casey Jones, steaming and rolling. Casey Jones, you never have to guess. When you hear the tooting of the whistle, it's Casey at the throttle of the cannonball.
Whoever said a dog is man's best friend sure knew what he was talking about.
Hawaiian Ice.
Starring Anthony Isley,
Hawaiian Ice.
Robert Conrad, and Connie Stevens, with Poncy Ponce.
Surfside 6.
Starring Troy Donahue,
Surfside 6.
Van Williams,
Surfside 6.
Lee Patterson.
In Miami Beach.
I can remember this Americanism all the time, and I'm talking about 1956, when television first started, and I was only about 14, I suppose, at the time.
The Naked City, I used to love. The Naked City was fantastic. The Untouchables, I love The Untouchables.
Things like Naked City and, of course, Bonanza.
I love all the old detective shows. Peter Gunn.
Kojak and Columbo, you know, the good guys winning and happy endings and stuff like that.
Ironside. Laugh if you like. That's, you know, the detective in the wheelchair. I used to love that.
Disneyland, and I still love it.
Has got to be the Mavis Bramston Show. Absolutely fabulous. Had a great impact on me.
Wanted, dead or alive, the late Steve McQueen.
I always thought that people on television had to be American. This is my view as a child. You had to speak with an American accent and be very glamorous. I mean, I guess that's why I sort of grew up thinking that when I was a child, I thought everyone that lived in America was rich and looked beautiful.
It's so hard to predict the success of a show and what they will like all over the world or here in America. It's a gigantic guessing game.
We've been lucky in being able to predict where the next trend is going, but it is really mostly luck. I think on a show of Dynasty, if you're lucky to get a Joan Collins who has universal appeal and blend her with American actors and actresses, I think you have a good chance of getting a worldwide market. But the great game that we all play in television is, will it work or will it not? Will the audience accept it or will it not? Let's just hope our luck holds out.
BP Australia Limited presents Emergency, an all-Australian production.
You knew all right, and I'll tell you why you knew. Because you killed him.
All right, so I killed him. But you try and prove it, Rogers. You try and prove what happened nearly 15 years ago. You can't. Now get out of here and tell that quack merchant I'm well enough to get out of the stump.
All right, you're not going anywhere, Braddock, whatever your name is.
This man wears no uniform. He has no rank. His name is often not his own. The law offers him no special protection, no exemption. If necessary, his own country will deny his existence. He is part commando, part detective, part spy. He is Hunter.
This was the first attempt at a glamorous, exciting counter-espionage series in Australia. Fast cars, fast women, and hopefully a fast spy as well.
I learned how to work with film simply for the hours and hours of things that I did for Crawford's way back when I first started 24 years ago. I mean, I've been murdered, maimed, violated as much as anyone on television.
TV is the grounding for most actors. Without it, the employment rate for actors in Australia would be more than half.
My name's Kitty Sullivan. Today's the beginning of the school holidays, and Terry and I, he's my brother, we're just going to go off on a secret adventure. If we'd have known what was going to happen to us, though, we'd never have started it.
We can start on the physio.
Oh, Jesus, can't you? I'm sorry, I'm not...
Well, I know, lass. I must say you're very calm about it.
Well, I'm working for the picture shows, aren't I?
Not this one, surely.
No. Oh, I can't do it, I'm sorry. Could you open it for me?
What's wrong, Skip? What's happened? What is it? Where'd you get it? It's not Matt's. Then why the urgency? Jim? It's from Jim. He's in trouble. His car's broken down. He can't get to the show. Is that it, Skip? Come on, Skip. We haven't much time.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Frank?
Yeah.
This is she.
Check. Side 6. Sullivan.
Joy speaking.
Yeah, Central Police. Yes. Matlock Police.
Lucy Carmichael.
Donovan. Steed. Homicide.
This is Smart. Newsroom.
Quick, having about Simon.
Oh.
What's up, Gilly?
Might be a new customer. Oh, it's you, dear. 2 bottles of the usual.
ASAP.
I think I might just be pregnant.
You're joking.
Oh, my goodness.
Tummy trouble.
He's making mountains out of molehills.
You try those tablets.
What about me?
Keep doing it till I tell you to quit.
This isn't the time for you to drop your bundles.
And what am I supposed to do in the meantime?
We won't be needing those drinks.
You vulgar little man.
I don't like long telephone conversations about nothing.
Don't hang up. Bye.
Wrong number.
No, it's not goodbye just yet. We'll be back in a moment. Communication revolution over the last 30 years is television news. From the early years when news gathering was a modest affair to the present-day satellite links providing instant coverage from around the world, we can only marvel at the technology. Or do we perhaps just take it all for granted?
As far as news coverage is concerned, we do take it for granted. The satellite technology now is at the stage, it's instant in America, it's instant here at the same time, it's instant in Europe. You can take it wherever you want it. Satellite technology has sort of taken us right through to it's instantaneous television. It doesn't matter where it happens now. It's on someone's screen somewhere in the world at a given point in time.
Here in the land of the Southern Cross, in the colourful city of Melbourne, we await the arrival of the Olympics flame, the symbolic emblem of true sportsmanship.
It shall be the policy of this nation to regard any nuclear missile launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States.
This is Jack Kennedy, his infant daughter, are walking up to the casket. It'll be her last goodbye for today.
This is the basement floor of the Dallas City Hall, and that's a scuffle on the basement floor. It seems to concern Tarkus.
He has been shot. Oswald has been shot.
Senator Kennedy has been shot, and possibly shot in the head. He still has the gun. The gun is pointed at me right at this moment. I hope they can get the gun out of his hand.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap, mankind.
You realize, of course, that you made very strong charges against the President of the United States. It involves him in criminal offenses, do you not?
Yes, sir, I do.
resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
Well, may we say, God save the Queen. Because nothing will save the Governor-General.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
I'm watching my house burn down. I'm sitting out on the road in front of my own house where I've lived for 13 or 14 years. God damn it, it's just beyond belief. My own house, and everything around it black. There are fires burning all around me, all around me.
Oh, the poor man. Oh, this is awful. The police desperately trying to save the life of a supporter.
Roger, go with throttle up. Roger, go with throttle up.
Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction.
It'll give an opportunity for young people from many, many nations to sail to Australia, and that'll be the dream of a lot of them.
The explosion took place soon after the aircraft had crossed the Scottish border.
And it's our power that will stop these mills.
Sweeps and victory for Australia by 9 wickets, 4 runs to David Boone.
All Tasmanians will be shocked and appalled at the allegations that attempts have been made to improperly influence a member of this Parliament.
Stuffs up the whole day, actually.
He imprisoned Rouse for 3 years and fined him $4,000 for a company's code offence. This afternoon, Rouse arrived at Risdon. Tonight, he begins his 3-year sentence.
There's been quite a number of very significant events that affected me personally and affected me as a reporter since arriving in Tasmania almost 20 years ago. The two most horrific events that have occurred in Tasmania that I can recall is the actual explosion at Mount St Canis when the boiler blew up down there and killed and injured so many people. And also the Blythe Star, the ship that the Tasmanian Transport Commission was running at the time.
I suppose you'd have to rank the assassination of President Kennedy. On the local scene, I suppose one would say the Westgate Bridge here in Melbourne because of its terribly local content as far as Melbourne people were concerned. And the Ash Wednesday bushfires, I suppose I'd have to rank as one of the big stories in the last decade or so.
The only time I think I've come close to tears in news was when a late item arrived, and it was one of the first to come out of Africa with starving children, with the gaunt faces, the cheekbones standing out, the big eyes, almost with not enough energy to blink, and was very, very touching.
This mountain I must climb feels like the world upon my shoulder. Through the clouds I see love shine. It keeps me warm as life grows colder.
US television news designed and presented for our community as it prepares for the new day. Set an extra place at your breakfast table for today.
Direct by satellite, the Indianapolis 500 will bring you highlights in this edition of Today. But first of all, hello and good morning.
Today, the best in breakfast television.
The Today Show today, I think, has built up an audience that many people didn't think would watch television at that hour of the day. And its advantage these days is that because it is news and public affairs as well as entertainment, but news and public affairs oriented, it gives people the events that have happened while they've been asleep. They can get up in the morning now and they can see, no matter what part of the world the major story has broken in.
Have a good time for Patrice and I. Hate you. Robert Penfold joining us live via our satellites from the Big Apple, New York City.
Technology has increased to the extent, and I've just walked out of the studio from interviewing a man in Boston and someone responding from Perth. We take that for granted now.
This is Michael Willesee speaking. I'm sorry you can't hear me, but I'm sorry you can't see me, but I hope you can hear me. Believe it or not, we've just lost lights in our studio, but we can get on with the program. It's one of those nights. Graham Coddington with Mr. Brian Kibble in Melbourne, and in Sydney, our lights have returned, but we're taking no more chances. I'm sorry about that, but if it was uncomfortable for you, I can assure you it was worse for me trying to read from my notes.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
Woodbridge, Margate, Oyster Cove districts are the hardest hit, and as communications are down and information about the area is very sketchy at this stage, the exact amount of damage is not even guessed at. As you can see, this for Tasmania has been a tragedy, and now people are starting to come back. They're looking, hardly believing what they see, and yet just a few short hours ago, people were battling desperately to save their homes. 612 failed. And how many more we'll find in the next 24 hours is hard to estimate.
This is the Argyle No. 3 refugee camp here in Hong Kong. It's one of 6 such camps, and it houses upwards of 2,000 refugees, most of them from Vietnam.
Good evening and welcome to Dateline. On the program
well, television is an important medium to a journalist because, to my kind of journalist at least, in that
purely because it's audio-visual. It's closer to reality. And I don't think that print or even a medium like radio can get near television in that regard. That is the closest thing to reality, and therefore, journalistically, it must be the most exciting or interesting to work in. Why do people stop us in the street almost and tell us that Margaret Thatcher isn't just inflexible, she's not just single-minded. On occasion, she's plain pig-headed and won't be told by anyone.
Would you tell me who has stopped you in the street and said that?
Ordinary Britons.
Where?
In conversation.
But I thought you'd just come from Belize.
Oh, this is not the first time we've been here.
Will you tell me who and where and when?
Ordinary Britons in restaurants,
How
in
many?
cabs.
How many?
I would say at least 1 in 2.
I'm sorry, it's an expression I've never heard. Tell me who has said it to you, when,
These are
where.
people that we meet in passing.
But
and we
of course you
obviously
cannot
raise
say
the
who or
question
where.
of the state of their country with them. And they tell us, yes, we have a tough Prime Minister, but she's a little bit pig-headed. She won't be told by anybody.
Isn't this interesting? Even the tone of voice you're using is changing from what you used earlier. I am determined. Of course I am. I am proud of my country. It can do a great deal better than it is doing. I believe it will do better, and my policies will be shown to be right.
But why do these Britons say this to us? Is it possible that you just won't give an inch? That Margaret Thatcher needs to be right all the time?
Why don't you ask them? And why won't you tell me their names and who they are?
Now I see a lot of people walking around and around. Terra turn them upside down. Too scared to reach out, maybe afraid of what they'll find. But a hand stuck in the pocket, come up empty every time. Yeah. Now you better believe the writing on the wall. All for one and a one for all. Woman to woman and a man to man. Face to face, heart to heart, hand to hand. Say, I know.
Now, through the eye of the camera, the public's taken to extraordinary places, to wars, to famines, to droughts, overthrows of governments, places where the average person would never dare go. I mean, you couldn't imagine walking into Uganda in your right senses. Reporters go there and they do it, but I think there's a limit. There's a limit to how far the public can expect news services to take them, and the limit lies within yourself, within your gut intuition. If you think it's too dangerous, if you think it's too risky for what you get out of it, my judgment is no, don't do it.
Hit it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
TCN9 presents Australia's very first live program, The Johnny O'Connor Show.
Grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worries on the doormat. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street.
What are you doing here? Haven't you heard? The Commonwealth Bank has branches everywhere.
May I just have a look at it? What a gorgeous little thing.
On Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, between us we've a million plans. On Thursday, on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, like nurses we get lots of plans.
Mona Lisa, angel. Just like a lady with a mystic smile. Hey, hey, ding dong. I've been waiting for you.
Hey, hey, Ernie, I want to marry you too. I love you and don't you forget it. I love you and don't you forget it. I love you and don't you forget it, baby. Love me too and you won't regret it. Love me too and you won't regret it. Love me too and you won't regret it, baby.
This is where we did the first birthday in 1957. And this tiny little studio, we had a band in the prop bay, there was an audience stuck over here, and we actually did live to airs, a comedy variety program here.
Happy birthday to everybody. Thank you. Well, hello, viewers. How are you? All right? You enjoying the show? I got enough light on my face here. Is that all right? Is it? I want everybody to see me tonight. Well, how are you? All right? Well, I thought I might sort of start off by doing a few short, sharp impressions. You like to see them? Would you? Well, here's my first one. This is an impression of the famous American film star, Frederick March. Frederick March!
For the last time in 1967, from Sydney, it's The Tonight Show starring Don Lane, with Jeff Harvey and The Tonight Show Orchestra, and I'm Mike Walsh. But right now, here's the man to make the party swing. Here's Don!
If I could talk to the animals, just imagine it, chatting to a chimp and chimpanzee. Imagine talking to a tiger, chatting to a cheetah. Oh, what a neat achievement that would be.
I felt really lucky to be there, to be doing that kind of a thing. It was exciting. It was new to me. I mean, I was a nightclub performer. I didn't know anything about television. I don't know that much now, but Graham was sort of the master, you know. I mean, he had control of it. That place was built for him. Everything was put in there for him. He had those people around him, and, of course, a great deal of talent, tremendous ad-lib qualities and all that.
Oh, no wonder Louis Armstrong went black in the face when he tried. Rover, come on. Come on. You may eat. Yes, you can. Oh, I did it the wrong way. It's confused. Sit. You may eat. Rover boy, this is delicious here. This is pal dog food. Rover, darling. Rover? Oh, he's... Go on, Miff.
I don't know, but I can, my love.
Can't you? All right, love?
No, it's all right,
We've got a definite thing there. Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one, isn't it? That's the one. I'll just do something here. I shouldn't have done that for a reason. Hang on. Oh, no, no! Hang on. Nearly there. Is that the one? No. Oh. Hang on! Hello, miss. Just a second. That's the one. That's it. Beauty. Now, you've got to do that because... That's the stuff. I shouldn't have done that. Producer will be cross.
I felt resentful when I found out in the beginning that IMT was going national. I kept saying to the Channel 9 people in Sydney, why, this is Sydney. you know. It's the biggest city in the country. Why is national programming coming out of Melbourne? I think it was more a jealousy factor than a practical factor. And then someone suggested that we split the screen. And of course, I think Graham was using the split screen as a way to try to make more inroads into Sydney. Admittedly, I think he says that.
Thundering all along the way. A double bell. Having a drink and say.
It was wonderful days of television, and we did split-screen television between two cities, and everybody thought that was outstanding. I mean, today, you know, we zap by satellite to somewhere else.
Welcome to Playboy Mansion West.
The winner is... Go. What's the betting?
Mona Vale.
Oh.
Bert Newton.
Bertie. Without you,
I'm nothing.
without you, I'm nowhere. Without you, it's stormy.
And old pal, I've got no doubt. Without you here fighting for me, they're gonna count me out.
How's the hair?
I think if you're going to have variety, it will probably be on a special basis. The way Hogan was actually doing his, you know, where he did 4 a year, 3 a year, perhaps maybe if you had a variety special and there was somebody hot. Well, Ronnie Corbett, the two Ronnies are a perfect example. That's what they're doing. They're coming out and they're doing, what, half a dozen shows or 5 shows or something. So I suppose that's the way variety is going to be made palatable for people. I don't see anything on a continuing basis where you're going to have girls and dances and big bands and all of that. I think late night television will take the place of variety, but I think in a different form. I think it'll be a much more subdued form and one that's more relaxed and more personable and more designed for laughs than it is for big production and things.
Hey, hey, it's Saturday is simply irresistible. My stick is going to be frigid. They'll do anything to get on.
I don't know what it was, I just want to get on TV.
And why not?
I like that.
Where else can you have this much fun?
It's only the car.
This much entertainment.
This is different, isn't it?
Hey, hey, it's Saturday.
You ever seen anything like that? I haven't.
My area, of course, is variety, so I don't want to see it go for a start, selfishly, I guess, but I think there's a need for it because of all the doom and gloom in the world. I think let's have some light relief, whether it be through, well, I guess I'm talking comedy variety here, but hopefully Hey Hey will last for quite a long time, and maybe other shows down the track.
As Randall and King made their way to the centre, followed by what most Tasmanians had waited years to see, David Boone walk out to open the batting for Australia.
Television and sport, the marriage is just really unbelievable. I mean, you go back into the 60s and who of us thought that we would attend a Wimbledon, a Melbourne Cup, a Grand Final, a US Masters, and now we're doing it every year through television. I mean, just sitting in our lounge rooms, we get to Wimbledon, we get to see all the top golf events, all the top sporting events, you know, from around the world. the Olympic Games, the Commonwealth Games, and most of us didn't think we'd do this in a lifetime, but now it's just a common event to attend them through television.
My heart's on fire. You come to me wild and wild.
You find that women love sports now. Sports is people doing beautiful things. Sports is people doing all the things you wish you could do, whether it's Torval and Dean or the great gymnasts or the football players or the racing car drivers or the boxers who are so much braver than we are. I mean, it's all those people doing all those things so beautifully that we wish we could do.
There it is.
The odds were you probably missed the bus or the train to work that morning. But who cared? For the first time in 132 years, America had lost the cup. And all across Australia, we sat in front of our television sets and cheered our boys on. Leading the shouts heard across the nation, the Prime Minister himself. And if you ever doubted how deep the sporting spirit in this country ran, it was Bob Hawke who summed it up when he said that day,
"Any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up the day is a bum."
We took it all for granted that morning, the satellite bringing us the drama as it unfolded halfway across the world. But it wasn't always that easy. Only 30 years ago, when television was born in this country, we were again riding high. Third in the medal tally in the '56 Olympics, our best ever performance. The pictures weren't coming from Newport, Wembley or Wimbledon though, they were coming from Melbourne, right in our own backyard. For the lucky few who own television sets, or for those countless thousands who jostled for a look outside the electrical stores, they too shared the moments, but only after the film had been developed in fleets of planes flying out of Melbourne. Those were the days, the golden days of Australian sport.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to GTV for a first-time ever occasion for television, the linking of Adelaide and Melbourne on January the 25th, 1963.
4 runs. Lovely shot.
I take you where you wanna be.
The sporting revolution that happened with television in the mid-70s meant that there was a fairly dynamic change took place. Up till then, sport had been regarded as the poor cousin, and that people put 2 or 3 cameras up, wanted up, did a match. What happens now, not only with the Nine network, but all networks, is that as much effort goes into televising a sporting event, as much pre-production, as much creative thought, as to a major drama, a major comedy, a major variety show.
Dancing to my door. Last night, the little angel came pumping on my floor. She said, "Come, baby, got a license for love. And if it expires, Greyhound from above, because in the midnight hour, she cried more, more, more. With a rebel yell, she cried more, more, more. In the midnight hour, more, more, more. With a rebel yell, more, more, more.
As a sportsman who's later become a journalist, I would hate to see the day where television runs sport. You know, I think you need good, strong administration so that they keep that happy balance where sport is good for television and television is good for sport. But television should never run sport. You shouldn't have a situation, which I believe happens sometimes in America, where you've got television people saying, right, you know, we want a timeout now so that we can have a commercial break. That should never happen.
Without commercial sponsorship, of which people want to, when they switch the TVs on, the big sponsors want to see their names all over a particular event, then that's where the money is. And if that wasn't there, then the individual organising committees wouldn't be able to build the new venues that they need for the Olympics or whatever sport it might be.
Well, television's had a lot to do with the money that's pumped into sport now, and I don't know whether it's good or bad, and by that I mean, what would Wimbledon be worth without television rights? What would the Olympic Games, would there be an Olympic Games now if, say, Australia didn't pay rights of $9 million, or the Americans pay in the hundreds of millions of dollars for television rights? So without that money, I don't think countries could run the games, because that's the only way they get out of it, with a profit now. Korea did it, and so did the United States, didn't they? The last two Olympic Games, they got out making a profit, and it was through television rights.
Dawn Fraser, Murray Rose, Betty Cuthbert, Herb Elliott, Ken Rosewall, Lou Hode, Peter Thompson, Ron Barassi, Reg Gasnier, Lionel Rose, Johnny Famechon, Jack Brabham, Rod Laver, Margaret Court, Yvonne Corley. So many world champions, and through television we shared their triumphs. Winners, losers, laughter, bruisers.
Things are either funny or they're not. Don't you?
Yes, I would agree with that, and particularly since we're talking about certainly English language television, that Americans laugh really at the same thing as English people laugh, and Australians laugh at the same thing as UK people laugh.
Of course they do. I don't think that news.
That's why sorry to say that.
Oh, that's better.
That's another one. I don't even
very nice.
go on and on like this. Like the Russian egg, Fabergé egg.
Yes,
no,
you're right. I mean, we laugh at things like MASH. I mean, we adore those sort of American programs.
Phil Silvers, Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. Paul Hogan.
I always felt about television that I didn't really belong in it. I always, like a lot of people, I always thought like Graham Kennedy was born in the back of a television set. You know, I could never imagine Graham having any other life except television. That's one of the stars I can think of that I grew up on television with. So I always thought of myself as not really belonging. I was a viewer who was having a lend of the television cameras when I felt like it.
Leo Wanker will attempt the impossible. Using brute strength alone, he'll prevent this high-powered car from moving off.
Saturday night. All the boys are looking right. Eric's got his Zappa, Normie's got his J, Barry's got his helmet, and I'm in the Chevrolet.
Robin, I know this robbing from the rich and giving to the poor thing's pretty good, but to be quite frank, I'm stony broke and walking, son. You know, all the PBA accounts, the wife's running up on. And I was wondering if I could have the next purse that we rob off a bloke.
Well, look, you know, that's not possible.
Well, it don't need much, only a couple $100 bob.
I know. Well, if I could possibly do that, little John, I would. Unfortunately, as you know...
Robin, have you seen the sheriff lately?
No.
So we go and see him now, eh? Come on, Robin.
So, everybody, it's Knockin' it's racing round up. And here we are, it's beautiful South Australian Jockey Club, Morphettville, the home of the very fast weight for age and the Adelaide Cup, which I'm now holding in my little hand. And also it's the home of the controversial jockey, Teddy Tulloch. Where are you, Ted?
Down here, Knock. Great to see you in South Aussie, son.
Thanks a lot, mate. It's a warm South Australian welcome you've given us here. Now, of course, your reputation is spread down the Tassie because you've been banned from most racetracks.
Yeah, ease up that, Knock. Your reputation's been following you around Australia, if I may say so, too.
Oh, thanks for saying so, Ted. Yes, of course, well known in the football circles here in South Aussie.
Time for fun for you and me. Put me in the picture. KTV. Things to do, things to see. I get the picture. You're in the picture. Who's gonna keep in touch for me? Who's got the story? Who's got the picture? Who's got the answers? Coming to get you. KTV. 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 For kids.
Well, KTV, I think we've made in excess of 250 episodes that have gone worldwide. Middle East countries, Far East countries, the United States. It's currently being seen Australia-wide on the Nine Network. That's our success story. We've always produced children's programming, live children's programming from the old days of Peter's Palace through to now.
We've got it all on KTV, the best in local kids television.
Catch us. At the moment, all these lovely lads and lasses here are all in good health. Hey! Oh, stop it!
Right, behave.
Stop pushing to get words in. He's a very pushy Emmy, but he's a nice bloke. I'm not going to take you for a train ride now. Just get back. Anyway, he's a nice... I thought you'd like to meet him, Ozzy. How about he does a bit of the show with Daggles? Come on, wait, I can tell you.
Oh, well, you see, I don't like any of these shows with puppets and things on them because they're not real. I like something like Humphrey Bear because he's real. That's the...
Excuse me one moment, I'll just get Humphrey.
Yeah.
I can remember things like Our Gang, the Mickey Mouse Club. I mean, you know, Annette Funicello was everything that I wanted to be.
I can remember being, I guess, about 7 or 8 years old and having actually a black pleated skirt, little shoes with bows on, a white T-shirt and ears, and I would sit and do Miska Mooska Musketeer every day.
I loved cartoons, all cartoons, especially things like Prince Planet, Astro Boy.
Kimber the White Line, I loved all that. And Astro Boy, I'll never forget that, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da. They were so bad, but I love them.
What's up, Doc? Don't you like rabbits?
On that point, I'm a little disappointed nowadays that kids come home from school and they don't have the opportunity to sit there and watch entertaining shows like the cartoons, which were great, Scooby-Doo and Penelope Pitstop and all of those sort of things, which I really loved, and I don't think it really harmed my upbringing, and I think kids have a right to come home from school nowadays, sit down and be entertained, and there's certainly merit in the existing shows that are on, but because of the C classification, it seems that cartoons are ruled out, and I think that's a shame.
You must meet Bertie the aeroplane, and what a plane. He's only a youngster, really, but boy, could he fly. He was the pride of the aerodrome. His takeoffs were something to marvel at. Yes, sir, his flying ability was enough to put a seagull to shame.
Electronic lover, baby, that's my name. Whatever you desire, I'm here to play your game. Electronic lover, just programming your needs.
Well, there's some exciting things happening. For a start, there will be the television set sort of the size of a watch, but full colour and no extra thing, just on your watch, and you'll probably be able to get, you know, 200 channels, something like that, direct from satellite. I think the other exciting thing is interactive television, where you're going to be able to touch a button if you like something, or if a news broadcast wants to do a survey to see if people want to vote yes or no on something. You're going to be able to touch a button and they'll instantly be able to say 3 million people said yes or 2 million said no.
The other thing which will happen, which I think is going to be fascinating, is the television set will disappear. You're going to have the laser beam conjuring the hologram in the lounge room, completely three-dimensional picture that you'll be able to walk around or walk through. It'll be happening in cinema as well, but the hologram, I think, will be the great technical breakthrough for the later part of the century. A three-dimensional image as real as you and I, probably realer.
I think right now, as you know, all over the world, there seems to be an insatiable appetite for half-hour comedies. I think that'll last 2 years. Action Adventure seems to be out now. It'll be back in 2 years. The serial soap opera is doing this. I think that will be back in probably 4 years. But it's very hard. We've tried so much, maybe fictionalized news. I think it can go as far as that, actors acting out what really happened in the news to give you the inside story of what really was a story behind the news. Could be a new thing. It's hard to predict 30 years from now.
Television in the future, the real television, which is the free television as I know it, I think will settle more and more into being essentially doing what it can do incomparably better than anything else. That is to give you instant witness to now.
Okay.
Those rolling.
Mari banged her up against the seat.
25, shot 2, take 1. Nice and quiet now, we're rolling. Yeah, straight in that shot. To get the picture. Do it at the picture. Okay. Well, audience.
I'm worried about timing, not
action!
Nobody told me that disease like these. Nobody told me that disease like these.
What?
Nobody told me that disease like these. Strange days again.
Well, that's it for 30 years of television. Happy birthday, Taz TV. Good night.
Happy birthday from me, and it's a happy birthday from him. Happy birthday.